Hi, everyone. I'm Stacey Haffner, and with me is Siyal, and we're excited to show you why .NET is for everyone and how easy it is to start building with it. But before we jump into how awesome .NET is, I thought that I might tell you a little bit about what .NET has meant to my family and me. Now, I started to teach myself to program when I was really young. I was probably about 10 or so. And I was fortunate enough to have a family around me to help me learn. My dad spent his whole career doing enterprise desktop development in .NET, and now that he's retired, he uses .NET to build open source software for 3D printers. My older brother has built, honestly, far too many things to name. But for the last decade or so, he's worked on open source retro gaming engine that's based off of .NET. And he's also kind of more recently been dabbling with some AI stuff. And then my younger brother followed in my dad's footsteps, doing enterprise desktop development before he eventually chose to go into the .NET web dev path. And me? Well, I'm kind of like my older brother. I've built a bit of everything over the years, but eventually I found game development, which is where I spend most of my time these days. Now, unfortunately, we are all spread across 3 different countries and time zones. But we still talk every single day. We trade ideas, we share code, we help each other when we get stuck. And we can do this easily because at the center of everything that we're all building is .NET. It doesn't matter that my dad's off building 3D printing tools, which, thank you, Dad, or that I'm developing games. So today, Siyal and I want to show you what this looks like in practice, why .NET really is for everyone, and how easy it is to get started. So I'm going to hand things over to Siyal, who's going to tell us a little bit about himself and what .NET is.
Hello, everybody. I'm Siyal Dhande, and I'm pursuing my bachelor's degree. And my interest lies in cloud and data science, and I'm also Microsoft Student Ambassador. So let's get started with what .NET actually is. So .NET, what is it? At its core, .NET is a free and open source development platform, which was created by Microsoft and supported by an incredible global community of developers. It was designed to let you build anything. You just name it: website, mobile applications, desktop softwares, games, IoT devices, cloud services, and even the AI tools, all with one consistent foundation. And it's uh, cross completely cross platform. That means .NET runs on Windows machine, Mac OS, and Linux. Not and Linux, like many flavors. You just name it: Fedora, RHEL 9, Ubuntu, whatever. Today, .NET is used by millions of developers worldwide. It powers everything from Azure Cloud Services to enterprise applications, open source libraries, and games. One of my favorite part about it is .NET is fully open source. You can go to github.com/.NET right now, and you can just see their source code for their runtime, the compilers, then their libraries that powers the platform. You can even contribute to it. It's an open, completely open. That openness, that accessibility, and that flexibility, that's what makes it awesome. And .NET is so powerful as compared to other frameworks. It gives developer the freedom to create, learn, and share no matter what kind of project they are passionate about.
Awesome. And another thing that I love is how easy it is to get started. Let me show you. So right now I have PowerShell open and I am going to use Windows built-in package manager, which is called winget, to install .NET. It's super easy. I just type winget install Microsoft.NET SDK, and we're going to do 9. Oops. Yeah, so if I spell winget correctly. And while that's going, because it is going to take a couple minutes to download and install everything, I am going to hand it over to Siyal, who's going to show us how we can do this on Linux.
So, as Stacey has shown, like how you can install .NET on Windows, I'll just tell you how you can do it on Linux, especially on Ubuntu. So, on Ubuntu, what we can do is just head over to any browser and search .NET, and Ubuntu and enter, and then use this second one, and yeah, you're good to go. For this demo, I will be using Ubuntu as my distribution, which I would be using in WSL actually. So instead of WSL, you can use native Ubuntu also, or you can create your virtual machine and you can use that. But I would be using WSL. So just to let you know, guys, WSL what it is a Windows subsystem for Linux. So I will just tell you LSB underscore release hyphen a. So yeah, you can see this distribution is Ubuntu, and my like the version is 24.04. So I'll just go to this website where it is shown how you can install Ubuntu, how you can install .NET for your Ubuntu. I will select 24.04, and .NET I would be using .NET 8. Like the latest one is .NET 9, which is also stable version, but we would be using .NET 8 because I have already installed it. And you can also go for .NET 6th version, but it is no longer supported, so it is better to use 8 or 9. So yeah, these are few commands, 2 to 3 commands, which we need to install, .NET. So we'll just copy this first command and paste it. Just asking for password. Okay. Yeah. So what this sudo apt get update command does is it like manually install all the latest packages. So like in the back of the head, you just know ki you are using the latest version of Ubuntu. I have already done this. It is taking time, I guess. I'll just cancel this process. So the next command is sudo apt get install -y .NET SDK 8.0. So what this command will do is it will just install the software development kit of .NET, like whatever tools or software you need to build your .NET application. I'll just put enter. I have already installed this also because it takes like more time. So it is showing done, 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 done. So yeah, this was it. And just to check if we have already installed .NET or not, you just type .NET hyphen hyphen version, and yeah, we can see that the 8.0.121 version is already installed. Over to you, Stacy, now.
Awesome. Thank you. One thing I will call out is the .NET documentation is also open source and incredibly robust. So as you start to learn with it, you can pretty much find answers to anything you need within it. Now, it does look like the installation is done. So we have just installed the full .NET SDK, which includes everything that you need. It's got the runtime, the compilers, and the CLI tools. And we can actually check what's on our machine by calling .NET info. And if I scroll up, you can see here, there's actually 3 .NET SDKs. Number 9 is the one that we just installed, and I already had this my work machine, so I already had 8 and 10 installed on it. So what's really, really cool too with this is that .NET comes with loads of templates, and you can see all of these by typing .NET new list. Like I said, it's a pretty lengthy list. Now, we're not gonna do all of these today, but we're gonna look through some of the more kind of common ones that people work with. And to start, we totally have to do the classic hello world command line application. So let's make that now. You can do it super easily by going to our calling .NET new console, and then we'll do hello world. And let's actually call this console. Now, before I hit enter, let's take a look at what these commands are doing. .NET New is how you create a new project from the template. Console is the type of project that we want to create. And then N Hello World Console is us naming what our project is going to be called. So we'll hit enter. And now we can see that the project folder was actually created. So if I check the directory, I can see Hello World Console. So if I cd into that, check the directory again, there's several files in here. So it created the OBJ directory or object directory, but the most interesting one is this program.cs. This is what's going to run when we call .NET run. And this is going to compile everything behind the scenes and then, of course, run our project. You know what? Let's make this actually, before we do it, let's make this window bigger so it's easier to see. So hopefully that's a little bit easier. And we can see, actually, I'm going to zoom in even more. We can see that it ran and it called Hello World, which is great. Now, if we want to make changes to this, we can do it super easily. I have .NET or sorry, Visual Studio Code installed. And so I can call that with code command. And then if I put a period, it's going to tell VS Code to open in this folder. We'll hit enter. And let's pull this up. We can see here, let's actually make this bigger too. And we can see now that we have that program.cs file, which has hello worlds. So let's change this. Say hello world from the .NET conference. And we'll hit save, minimize this, come back here. All right, so from here, let's run it again. So we'll go .NET run. And we should see that pop up. There we go. Hello world from the .NET conference. Okay, so console apps are great. They definitely have their place, but let's do something a little more visual. How about a web app using Blazor on Linux? Siyal, why don't you show how we can do that?
Yeah, sure. So let's just hop back into Linux. Uh, so what we'll be doing is we'll just heading back to our WSL. We'll be using Blazor. So what Blazor is actually? So Blazor is a part of ASP.NET Core, and it lets you build interactive web apps using C Sharp instead of JavaScript. So what you can do is you can just run your C Sharp code directly into your browser with WebAssembly, and or also you can just go to your server and update the page in real time, just like live server we do with our HTML, CSS, JavaScript thing. So we can use both using the same component model. So what we'll be doing is so like there is a command. I will just copy paste it. I have already here .NET .NET new Blazor hyphen n and Blazor demo. I'll just paste it. What this command does is .NET new. This gives command ki like take the Blazor model and create a new application named as Blazor demo. So I'll just hit enter. Uh, I guess this I have already created by the name of Blazor demo. So I'll just use Blazor demo 2, and yeah, I guess it is processing. It will take some time, and yeah, as you can see, we have successfully created this. So now just to run this .NET application, uh, we just head over to the um, directory which is Blazor Blazor demo 2, and now we are into the directory where we have imported all the demo website from the Blazor uh, module, and we are here and just type .NET run, and it will take some time. It will build, and it will just show. So like we can see it is listening on port number 5296. Mostly it uses 5005 or 5127, but it is showing this time 5296. I'll just copy this URL and I'll just paste it into my browser, and here you go. You can see your web .NET website, and it is working. Weather counter also with me. So yeah, this was all about building a .NET website using Blazor. Over to you, Stacey.
Awesome. Now, one of the cool things about Blazor is that it lets you build interactive web apps using C Sharp instead of JavaScript. So you can run your C Sharp code directly in the browser with WebAssembly or on the server and then update your page in real time. All right, so now that we've seen console and a website, let's get started making a cross-platform mobile app using .NET MAUI. Now, MAUI is great because it lets you build native apps for iOS, Android, Mac, and Windows from a single language code base. But we're not going to do this in the console. We're actually going to use Visual Studio Code for this. So, actually, I think I should still have it open. Yep. let's close down this folder. And in order to do this, you actually need to have a couple of extensions. The first extension that you need to have is the C Sharp Dev Kit, which for me is already installed. Now, this extension provides the tools needed in Visual Studio Code to edit, build, debug, and manage C Sharp projects efficiently. But the second one that we need is the .NET MAUI extension. And installing is easy. Just click the button. Now, this extension gives VS Code the tools to build, run, and develop .NET MAUI apps directly from the editor. This includes things like having the device emulation and the templates, because as I mentioned, you're building cross-platform. Now, once we've got the extension installed, we can pull up the VS Code command palette by doing Control-Shift-P. And in my case, I already have .NET at the top because I've recently used it, but you can search for .NET and look for .NET New Project. And this is going to go and discover project templates, kind of just what we saw inside of the console, except for now we have MAUI templates, which we didn't have before. And if we filter on MAUI, you can see there's 5 templates to choose from. We're going to go with the Blazor hybrid app, and I'll explain why in a minute. But for now, let's just get this created. And I'll put this in the demo folder. And then I'm going to call this Hello World MAUI. We'll keep the same solution and create the project. This should be pretty fast. I can get rid of that. Now, let's just run it. I'm not going to make any changes. We'll just get this going. So if we go to the Run and Debug tab in VS Code, we can hit Run and Debug. We'll pick C Sharp. This can sometimes take a moment. All right, now what we can do is pick what we want to launch this as. And as I mentioned, you're building for lots of cross-platform apps. So we could run this in an emulator for Android or iOS. Instead, we're just going to stick with Windows. We're going to keep it simple. So we'll pick Windows. We'll go with local machine. And then while this is going, I've noticed with the font, this happens sometimes when I'm zoomed in, just zooming in and out, or zoomed in and sharing my screen, I should say. So as you saw before, there's a lot of different templates. And we went with the .NET MAUI Blazor hybrid app because that gives you the best of both worlds. You can build native mobile and desktop apps with MAUI while still reusing your existing Blazor web UI components inside of them. All right, perfect. So the build is done. And we should see this launch any moment now. Wonderful. So this looks very similar to the Blazor app that we just saw, including having a counter and the weather. All right, so again, we've just seen console, website, and now native cross-platform applications. Let's switch gears a bit and talk about games. So .NET is used in several frameworks and engines, and 3 of the most common ones are Godot, Unity, and Monogame. We're going to only look at 2 of these today, which are Unity and Godot. So let's start with Unity. I'm going to switch here. Okay, so Unity installs with the Unity Hub, which you can get from the unity3d.com website. And the hub is actually what you use to manage the installs of the engines, and then also where you go to create and launch your existing projects. So creating a new project is pretty easy. Just pick new project. And Unity comes with, I guess the best way to call it would be a series of templates. So there's the core, I'm going to call them templates. Oh, no, they do call them templates. There's the core templates, which has universal 2D, 3D, a whole set of stuff. This is basically tailors your base project to whatever it is that you're trying to do. For example, Universal 3D is really good for mobile apps or kind of low fidelity or graphic applications for games. There's also a sample tab, which has projects that you can deconstruct, and a learning tab, which has projects that then you can go to the website and follow along on to learn. Now, when you open up a project for the first time, depending on how powerful your machine is, really kind of directly correlates to how quickly your project can open. In my case, my machine is not very powerful, so it took about 5 minutes for me to open this project, which means I have already created the project, and I'm not going to have you guys kind of watch me open this for 5 minutes. So we're going to just switch over to it. And I went with the Universal 3D project. Now, this is what you start with. It's basically just kind of an empty project that has certain projects and packages and configurations set up. Now, without going too in depth, games have what's known as a gameplay loop that runs on objects that are loaded in an active scene. This means that we need to create a game object and then add a script to something that lives in that scene so that the behavior will actually run. And again, doing that's pretty easy. We can just right click on this is the scene hierarchy over here. We can right click and make an empty game object, and we'll call this console log. And then within console log, we can add a component. This is basically what lives and runs on a game object. We can add a new script component. And we'll call this console writer. And we'll save that. And then if we open it up, make this full screen, zoom in a bit so you can see. This comes with a mono behavior, and more interesting is the method called start. What will happen is when a game object lives in a scene, start runs one time. So it's basically, hey, I exist, run my code. So what we can do is use this as the place to put our hello world. And within Unity, to write to the console, it's debug.log, and we'll say hello worlds. Oops. And save. Oh, I dropped my. There we go. All right, if we pop back over to Unity, it's going to do a quick reload of the scripts. All right, so the scripts just finished loading. Now we can push play. All right, and we can see down below that we have printed Hello World. And that's it. That's how quick and easy you can get set up making games inside of Unity. Let's look at the last engine, which is Godot. All right, so Godot is really cool because it's an engine that is completely open source. But I will admit it does require a little bit more setup process to get going. And the good news is I've just recorded a new series around getting started with Godot and C Sharp that walks through the installation process. And it actually teaches how to use Godot and make games with C Sharp. So we'll put that down in the description and you can follow along with that on getting Godot set up. Now, that being said, Godot does come with a project manager, which is where you manage your projects. So create and launch your projects. This does not, unlike Unity, it's not the place where you would go and handle installations of the engine, though. So creating, again, is really easy. You just hit the create button, set your name, your project path, pick your render, and hit create. And now you will have a blank project. For time's sake, I have already done that. This is an empty project where I've done nothing in it yet. And to get started, we just need to make a new 3D scene. And we get in Godot a node. So Godot is similar to Unity in the sense that you have to have an object that lives in a scene that has a script for us to see that behavior run. So in this case, it's not a game object, it's a node, but we can add the script directly to it. And we'll do that over here in this section by adding a new script. So we'll do that. We'll call this, I don't remember what I called it before. I think I called it console writer. And one thing to call out is a lot of times it'll default to GD script. You'll just want to make sure that your scripts are set to C sharp. And then we can create this new file. And we can see it down in the hierarchy over here. It created console writer and it attached it to the node. And now what we want to do is Godot's version of start, which is actually ready, but it behaves the same way. When the object loads in the scene, it'll run one time. And to do that, we can override. Oh, let's get the IntelliSense. There we go. Ready. Well, did that to me earlier today, too. And we can do GD print hello worlds and save that. Come over to Godot, push play. Now, this message, it only shows up one time. It's basically saying, hey, you're pushing play, but I don't know what scene to run. What do you want to do? And we're just going to set it to the current scene that's open. And we'll save that scene so that it can actually have a reference. Perfect. And down here, we can see, once again, hello world. All right, that's it. That is a super quick tour of some of the things that you can build using .NET. We looked at console apps, websites, native applications, and games. There is so much more that you can build. So thank you for hanging out with us and go make something awesome.